Hey polish fans, welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer, and in today's video we are finally getting around to taking a look at the polishes and manicures that I wore for the month of February. So I think I wore a few fun ones. I had some manis that I really enjoyed, so let's jump right in and take a look at what I wore. So the first two that I wore were these two here. I wore the Kiss nail polish in Silence and a Sinful colors over that. This one is called Konfection. This, as you can probably tell from the specialty cap, was from the Kylie Matte Denim and Bling collection. It is matte, very, very matte. When I swatched this, I was actually a bit surprised. You may have heard me mention before, for this collection, I somehow completely missed matte on the caps here, so I was very surprised that it was matte. And how matte it was. Like, I was like, oh, I will just easy throw a top coat on it and it will not be matte. This ate up my top coat, like ridiculously so. It was impressive. Now, unfortunately, I did not get it to turn out this good on my nail. The effect that it has on this, I'm just going to take it off so my camera can focus here. The effect that it has on this was very frosty, very snow-like. That's the look that I was going for. I was going for a wintry look, and it just didn't come across that way on my actual natural nail. Probably because when you're wearing it on a natural nail, you have just a peach background instead of the white tone of the nail polish ring that I used here. In any case, for the rest of the mani, I wore Kiss in Silence. This was a beautiful color, sort of a pinky mauve neutral, very beautiful in tone and color. Really enjoyed this one. The Sinful colors, in order for me to get it opaque, and that was air quotes, I lost track after 5. I could have been 5 or 6 coats, but I also used it as a topper over another nail. Now in the end, I did decide to go and put another matte top coat on it, and I feel like that sort of ruined the sugar texture that it had, so I probably wouldn't do that next time. I wouldn't recommend it unless you want to try to make it very smooth. It does definitely change how the polish looks, so we'll see how I work with that next time. But with spring manis on my mind, chances are I will not get around to wearing this again until next winter. So in any case, that was mani number 1, Kiss Silence and Sinful colors in Konfection. The next mani was these two polishes here. I wore Zoya In Stacy and OPI Snow Globetrotter. Stacy was a bit of a surprise. In the bottle, it definitely feels like a berry tone. I hope that that is coming across fairly accurately on camera, but on the nail, it essentially felt like a burgundy, a very jelly-like burgundy. I don't feel like many of the berry tones came through very well, at least on my skin tone. I also wasn't a huge fan of the way that the jelly formula looked. Maybe I needed another coat, and I don't remember if I was at 2 or 3 for my mani that you'll be seeing there in the picture, but all in all, I was just sort of ho-hum about the whole effect that this had on my nails. Like I said, in the bottle it looks very juicy and very rich and berry toned, and on my nails I feel like it could have been any burgundy, so that was a bit of a disappointment. And on top of it, I had what was unfortunately kind of another disappointment. This one is OPI's Snow Globetrotter. Now the reason why this was a disappointment is because I feel like the glitters in here are so sparse that when you try to put it on your nail and get it to look like it does in the bottle, you really have to work at it. And I've tried the method of turning this upside down to sort of get these bigger hexagonal white glitters to come onto the brush a bit better, and I still found it a bit difficult to get as much as I felt like wanted on the nail. I also don't really love how it turned out over the darker color. I think I should have stuck to a light blue or perhaps another mid-tone color at the deepest. I feel like over a darker color like Stacy, I just wasn't happy with how it looked, and that's definitely a personal preference, of course, and of course on my bad. It's not like that's anything against this polish. However, I did give it a try in an upcoming mani, so you'll see that here in just a few minutes, but that was OPI's Snow Globetrotter. So the next mani was actually quite a lot of polishes put together, and you'll see why here in a moment. So I used these 4 polishes, 77 nail lacquers, a Midsummer ice cream, Wet n Wild's French white cream, Bee's Knees Lacquer, a Mantis shrimp's favorite color, and again OPI's Snow Globetrotter. So we'll start out with the ones that I really liked, or the one that I really liked, and that was 77 Nail Lacquers and Midsummer Ice Cream. This color was just so fun. It was vibrant, it was beautiful on the nail, it was a bright pastel is how I would describe it. Very, very beautiful, and of course a tone that you know I love. It is this sort of a blurply periwinkle, but definitely a blue. When you compare it to a purple, it definitely has that blue in it. This of course is not a cream, but you get the point. And when you compare it to a flat out sky blue, like let's say this one here, it's gonna have a bit more of a purpley tone to it, but more of a pinch instead of a true dark blurple. But it's so beautiful. I really enjoyed how this looked on my nails. Color was spectacular. This was one of those colors that I loved right away when I saw the swatches of it, so I'm really happy to have this in my collection. And then as an accent nail, I used these two colors layered over each other. And the reason why I layered two whites is because the Wet n Wild is for French tips, so it's a kind of a, I wouldn't exactly call it chalky, but it's not a milky white. And Bee's Knees Lacquer is a milky white. And I say that in the best of way. I really enjoyed how this looked, especially layered over the opacity of the Wet n Wild. So I used the Wet n Wild for the opaqueness, and then I wanted that squishy, milky coloration on top, and that is exactly what Bee's Knees Lacquer gave me over that color. So as you can see, it's a bit of a milky tone to it, so you've got a little bit of a sheerer formula, so it's got a bit more shine to it as well. So beautiful color, and I'm glad to finally get a chance to try this one out, and I'm really looking forward to doing more manis with it. Then I did some glitter placement with OPI's Snow Globetrotter. So this time around I did an accent nail with the scattered glitters in here, and then I picked out the larger hexagonal glitters here and placed them at the base of my accent white nail. And while ultimately I think I could have tweaked a few things about it, the mani definitely didn't last as long as I would have liked it to. I was going for the white nail being in a matte, and I wanted the glitter in a shiny finish, and I don't think the two of my top coats were really getting along very well, so it was a bit more, I wouldn't quite say an ordeal, but it was definitely a little bit more work than I had originally anticipated getting that rather simplistic look to function. But it was fun. I did really enjoy how the mani came together all in all. Like I said, it didn't last very long. The larger pieces of glitter that I put here I think started to flake off, but it was fun while it lasted. And since I change my nail polishes fairly regularly, I didn't exactly mind. It was a nice excuse to change up my mani sooner rather than later. So those four were that mani. Then in one of my recent hauls, you may have seen me haul this Essie. This one is called Tide and Blue, and this is a stunner of a polish. This is a very deep blurply polish loaded with a bunch of iridescent glitters in here. So this was gorgeous on. I actually did this as a topper mani over this manicure here. I didn't really feel like taking the time to take it all off, so I just threw on a coat of this over it, and I really enjoyed how it looked. This was so beautiful on the nail. Very deep, very vampy, and very wintry with all of those iridescent glitters shining through. It was gorgeous. So I really am looking forward to wearing this some more, and if you missed it in that last video, I'll try to make sure to post that haul video up there. I got this at TJ Maxx. So that again was Essie, Tide and Blue. Then I decided to do another topper mani. Yep, I was sort of lazy in February. Felt like doing a lot of topper manis. So this time I used Fancy Glosses, Fairy Wings, and I layered this over the Essie Tide and Blue, and let me tell you, this was so beautiful together. So you had the deep blurply look of the Essie already, and then this added all of those gorgeous rainbow iridescent flakies to it. It was breathtaking, absolutely stunning. As you can see, the flakies in this polish are of every color of the rainbow. You can see everything from teal to blue to pink to gold, green, purple, and blue, and green. Did I say any of those twice? Possibly. It's gorgeous. Loved how this looked, very wintry, but it was so gorgeous with those flakies. And another easy way to just change up a mani nice and quickly. So that again was by Fancy Gloss, and that was Fairy Wings. The next mani that I wore was another duo, so I wore this L'Oreal and a Never Enough. The L'Oreal was in Doutzen's Nude, and Never Enough was in Care of Magical Creatures. So Doutzen's Nude is a pinky nude polish. It is a beautiful tone of sort of this mauve-leaning pink tone. Very beautiful, very creamy. I don't remember if I had to do 2 or 3 coats of this, and the formula was nice and smooth, so loved that one. Then I wanted a little bit of bling and sparkle on it, so I used Never Enough's Care of Magical Creatures. This one was so beautiful. This is a beautiful topper loaded with sheer flakies, some iridescent glitter, some hollow in various sizes. So it adds a really interesting look on the nail because you've got those iridescent glitters, you've got the hollow sparkling away in both the small particles and then the scattered glitters. And then those sheer flakies add another look to the nail, which I really, really enjoy. So this was absolutely beautiful over that mani. Definitely will be getting some more use of this next winter, but I feel like this could also work in the spring as well. So we'll see if I decide to pull that into my spring rack or possibly this summer. But that was Never Enough's Care of Magical Creatures. And then the last polish that I wore for February was one of my own prototypes. This one is prototype number 17. So if you're not familiar, Wild Moon Lacquer is my someday soon, maybe, nail polish brand. So I have some prototypes that I have been pulling out and trying to wear. This one was actually made probably over a year ago now, and I think that I need to change up the formula without the flakies. I'm not really happy with how those are holding up, but the rest of it I love. This was so fun on the nail. It is this lilac-y purple base, very jelly-like. And I did forget to say I wore this over the L'Oreal and the Never Enough. So as far as opacity goes, I will definitely have to try it again, but I again was being lazy and I just wanted to do sort of a quick mani change, but I was really happy with how this turned out. As you can see, hopefully there's a bunch of light holographic glitters in here just scattered throughout, and I absolutely loved how those came across. They sparkled and glinted off of the nail really beautifully, and this also has a beautiful blue glow to it. Really lovely, and like I said, I will have to reformulate it without those flakies. I just really wasn't happy with how they laid on the nail. I had a lot that were sort of folding over themselves and doing some not so pretty things, but the rest of it was gorgeous. I'll have to do some reformulation. But again, that was Wild Moon Lacquer's prototype number 17. So there you have it. That was what I wore in February. Let me know down below which manicures were your favorite, and let me know which fun polishes you've been wearing lately. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in that next video.